We are live now. And hello, everybody. Thank you for one more time, one more episode in Open Studio talking about drums, drum conversation. Today we have the first Brazilian that I invited here, a huge friend, huge musician, and in his consideration, I'm starting playing a very Brazilian rhythm, a mixed between maracatu and baião. I hope you enjoy, and please, one more next minutes, we're gonna have our guest here. I will play maracatim for you first. Thank you for being here. Abraço. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I'm saying that Tony, how are you? Tony, Clements, Henk, Jen, thank you, Clements, Marky. We're gonna talk a little bit later. I will see the comments and talk with you guys. And now it's my pleasure, my huge pleasure, introduce you guys a huge friend. For a long time we were friends, and an amazing musician, and such an inspiration for the Brazilian drummers and the Brazilian musicians. Please clap your hands, everybody, for Rogério Boccato, this incredible
Oh
drummer.
man,
Please.
Edu, good to see you here,
Good to see you here too, Rogério.
man.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for the invitation, man. Such a pleasure to hang with you, even over these, devices, all this
Yeah,
technology.
these devices, that is amazing. I
It
am in
is.
São Paulo, and where are you now?
I'm in a tiny few miles from New York City, like right on the border, in a town called
But
Yonkers. So it's like you cross out of the Bronx and you hit my house here.
oh, great!
Yeah.
I want to go there next time that I went that I traveled to New York. We have to. I want to. I'm inviting myself. That is a little it's a little Brazilian style, but I want to go there, and because I like you so much,
Oh man.
and the last time that we spent a lot of time together in São Paulo. We used to live in the same city
Yeah.
and share some gigs, share music, and share instruments, share a lot of
Totally.
things, and will be my pleasure.
Oh man, please let me know. I think last time I saw you in flesh was actually here when you came to do something with Juilliard a few years ago, maybe I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. You
I
remember you guys played and then you went to a restaurant and you went to eat and then I just joined you there like after hours. You
I
guys were leaving.
remember I remember that, man. I
Yeah,
remember and we spent time with the students too. That amazing students that
yeah,
they have in Juilliard.
totally.
That is amazing.
Well,
And Rogério,
yes.
oh, I bring a lot of questions. I know that
Uh,
we're going to start to talk and we're not going to use that. And just a little Português for people from Brazil. Pessoal, beijo para vocês aqui no Brasil e vocês me desculpem não, mas assim, eu e o Rogério vamos ter que falar em inglês hoje, então assim, ó, perdoem, né? Perdoem o meu inglês aqui, o
Perdoa, por
Rogério vai me
favor.
ajudando aqui.
Eu vou ajudar.
Ah,
Perdoa, por favor. É isso aí.
Rogério,
Uhum.
please. With today, I want to talk a lot about this incredible thing that you are doing with your drums.
Mhm.
Because when I met you,
Yeah.
you are a drummer, and just 1 week before I met you, I realized that you, besides a drummer, you are a percussion player for the symphonic.
Mhm.
And after that, I realized that you are popular percussion too. And now I'm seeing that you are doing that mixing everything that is amazing. And I want to talk about that to show it for us. But first,
Mhm.
just tell us a little bit about your starting on the music, your basement with the music. Where is it in Campinas? You are from Campinas, is that right?
I'm actually from São Paulo, but my family moved to Campinas when I was about to be 7 years old. So I basically grew up in Campinas and then
Oh,
went, high school and college at where we met, right? The Unicamp, the university there.
mhm.
So a lot of my life, my formative years, I grew up in Campinas. And then going to São Paulo, which is our New York, for work, to play music. And that's where a lot of things happened, right? I mean, Campinas is just a satellite city from this incredible metropolis, which is São Paulo.
Yes, but maybe since being a satellite for
Hmm.
São Paulo, uh, there is a lot of satellites, and for me, move it to Campinas was a very big deal because for me it was huge. There's a lot of different music, and I think that in the world we have different kind of satellites every time.
Yeah.
And but even in Campinas, there is such a great music,
Oh
great
yeah.
musicians, and I think about the school. The school brings a lot of people from all the country, and someone's abroad the country to study there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you came from the south. A lot of people coming from all over, and I was there in that school right before, even before the jazz program started.
Hmm.
So it was. I mean, I saw it from the start. You know, I was a year before that. So when you came, I was actually in the middle of my program because I had a 6 year program. The composition program was 6 years because I didn't do the jazz program like you did. So it was a little longer. And I took a
Yeah.
year off to moved to São Paulo because I was already playing in this jazz symphony orchestra that you mentioned,
Yeah.
and which was a big thing for me. So playing timpani, playing mallets, and always, helping out with the percussion from Brazil because that orchestra, it was put together to play music from Brazil in an orchestral format. So a full symphony orchestra plus a big band, all the instruments were there. So I'm playing the timpani, but there was always groove going on, and we didn't play symphonic music, like European classical music. So with the Brazilian repertoire, all the guests that came, like Milton Nascimento and Jobim and Hermeto Pascoal and Dori Caymmi and you name it. I mean, Rosa Passos and you guys. I mean, I think we played. Was I in the orchestra when you came with Rosa, or
Yeah,
I
I
think you
don't.
came.
Yeah, probably. I went there sometimes. I
Yeah.
went there with Mozaterra
Oh yeah.
and with Rosa, with Chico Pinheiro,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because I
and
stayed from 1990 to 2005, which was when I moved here. So those
yeah.
first 15 years. So, and now they're turning 30. The orchestra is turning 30, which is I mean incredible. I was like, what? It's been 15 years I've been here, plus the 15 years I was there. So 30 years of this orchestra. It's it makes me feel so old.
No, man,
Yeah.
no, no. We are doing music. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
very good. The
Totally.
time is going, but we are doing a lot of music.
Yeah, making
That's
a lot of
good.
music.
And I have to share with the or viewers
Uh huh.
a story about how I know it about you for the first time because you
Okay.
said that we spent one year in São Paulo,
Yeah.
and I think that was just the year that I came to Unicamp, the first
Okay.
year,
To the school.
and I didn't have drum set to practice at
Oh.
home. I used to live in apartment, and was there just one drum set in whole the school for
Old
all
school.
the
Yeah.
students. And I used to spend my day at the school playing and practicing drum set. And there was some paper that you put your name and your time to
Smart.
reserve to
The room.
reserve the room.
Yeah.
And I remember that that was the end of the year, and I back to Florianópolis to see my family. And
Yeah.
when I went back to Campinas, and with my pen to mark my times in that room, I saw a lot of names that spots that Rogério Boccato, Rogério Boccato, Rogério Boccato, Rogério Boccato. I said, man, who is that guy? Why he needs to practice a lot? How much like that?
Yeah, yeah. I was
was the
taking
first
over.
was the first time that I saw your name, and
So
and after that we met, and it was so great.
you started loving me from the first sight, right? Like, who is this guy? Give me a break.
Yes,
Out
yes.
of here.
Oh, on Friday, the Friday I need just 2 hours. And on Friday, please let's negotiate that. Was
Yeah.
our starting negotiating times on the drum set from Unicamp. That was
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah.
And Rogério, did you play with Tom Jobim in Jazz Sinfônica?
Yeah, in the orchestra. He came the first, I think one of the first concerts we had, 1990, was with him, but solo, just him on the piano and the whole orchestra. And then later on, couple of years later, he came with his band. So we had two chances to play with him. Yeah.
Man, that's and who did the arrangements?
So a lot of stuff he brought, and
Mhm.
I think Luisa Ruda Paz did some, and Ciro Pereira, if I remember, because this has been like almost 30 years now. But I think he brought some stuff, and Ciro conducted and rehearsed with the band when was the with his band. But this stuff, yeah, I think he brought most of the arrangements for his music. Yeah,
Man,
there's some YouTube on with that, with him in
ah,
Campos Jordão, in that festival in Campos Jordão, in the winter festival in Brazil, in July. I mean winter for
we
Brazil.
we can search Orchestra Sinfônica and Tom Jobim.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find. And the funny thing is, somebody sent or posted this on Facebook, and the screenshot, the one picture that, not screenshot, that one picture that shows what the video is about. It's actually a
Yeah.
picture of me on the timpani. I don't
Wow.
know why. Joe Beam is there, and they chose that frame. I was like, man,
So we have to search Rogério Boccato with Orchestra Jazz Sinfônica and Tom Jobim.
yeah, Joe Beam in
Yeah.
passing. No, but the thing is, in 1990, I was, well, 30 years ago, I had a lot of hair, if you remember, like you now. I had a bunch of hair, so you might not recognize me. People just looking at me now, like, who? You're cheating. You're just lying. But yeah,
We have to find that. We
30
have to
years
find.
ago. Exactly, 30 years ago. Yeah, to 2020, 1990. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
times goes by.
Yeah, and that is such an honor to play with Jobim
Oh
and
man,
with his band that
yeah.
seems to be Paulo Braga and Tião
Yes,
Neto and
Paulo
Jacques
Jobim,
Morelenbaum, Paulo
Jacques,
Jobim.
Danilo
Oh,
Caymmi singing and playing flute.
oh
Yeah, and the girls,
man.
Maúcha, Diné, and Paula. I mean, all the whole band. Yeah, it was incredible.
Mm,
Yeah, for
mm.
us, I mean, being that orchestra, I've seen so many people. I mean, we interacted with so many great artists, like idols
I,
of ours.
I I remember was so remarkable to me to seeing you because I still in Campinas and I watch from the TV you playing with Dori Caymmi.
Oh man,
Dori and Teco and Nico
Claudio
Assunção,
Sloan, Claudio
Claudio
Sloan.
Sloan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that.
actually, Claudio's father used to,
Yeah,
to be a violin player and
yeah.
play in Jazz Sinfônica, no?
Yeah, he was in the violin section, and Claudio, when he came, and it was like, "Oh, it's your son." I mean, we're like, yeah, it was incredible. We call him Seu Sloan, like Mr. Sloan. It was how
Mr.
we called him.
Stone.
Yeah, Seu Sloan.
Man, I remember that Dori Caymmi record Brazilian Serenade.
Oh yeah.
That has an incredible American drummer. That's Mike Shapiro playing
Also, yeah.
the Amazon River.
Mhm.
But there is two tracks that Sloan record that was Você Já Foi a Bahia. Você Já Foi a Bahia. Man, I remember that the first time that I heard that
Yeah.
is a lot of swing and he was Argentinian. He was not
Yeah.
Brazilian.
True.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think he
very
grew up in some. I mean, he came early to São Paulo when his family moved, and then by the mid '60s he already moved here to play with Walter Vanderlei, and then he stayed and never came back to Brazil to live. He just built his career in Los Angeles and played with everyone, and it was one of Dori's favorite musicians. That's why he brought him to São Paulo to play. When he came to play with the orchestra, and that to me was a very important concert because Nelson Aires, the pianist and arranger, composer, he
of
was
course.
conducting. He was one of the conductors in the orchestra at that time, and then he said, "Oh, we're gonna put this band together to play, like form a band around Dori Caymmi to play." So he brought his drummer, and then Teco came, to play the flutes and all the woodwinds. And I want you to play percussion. And I said, "Well, I play percussion." No, like we're gonna put you like a band, like in front of the orchestra. And I was like, "Whoa, that
Yeah.
sounds like something different." So I went to grab some instruments because I didn't have anything really at that time. Like you said, I started playing drum set. Then slowly I was trying to understand what the drummer would be playing on the drums, which is a summary of the many percussion parts on many styles, right? So you
Hmm.
try to summarize what 4 or 5 people are playing, or a percussion section. So when I understood that concept, I say, "Oh, let me check what then the guys are playing. What is this tamborim thing, pandeiro and surdo and zabumba and trying all that." So it took me a while to understand that, but on that very gig those concerts, man, that was so special because we went to Nelson's house to rehearse just the group, not just the rhythm section. And
Yeah.
when I saw Claudio Sloan playing, it was like, oh my goodness, what is this? Like he had a snare drum and a hi hat and a cymbal for the
Yeah.
rehearsal, and
And the,
you could hear the whole samba school happening. I mean, I don't know how he was proposing the low end that he didn't have. He didn't have any low drum, but you could hear it, you could feel it. It was amazing. I got goosebumps.
oh,
I still
that
remember that. This is like 1993. It was
that
incredible.
that
And Doris
that
music, I mean, it's one of my favorite composers, and
Turi's
can't talk.
music is
Forget it.
amazing.
Forget about
And you're talking about. I won't talk about the percussion and that thing. I won't take it to talk. But first, I want to tell you and the guys that Nelson now is doing these arrangements, and he is the conductor with Thiago Costa
it. Uh-huh.
for the youngest orchestra with the
Yeah.
same
Idea.
the same the same idea,
Yeah.
and from MSP Tom Jobim, and
Uh-huh.
that is the name is Orquestra Jovem Tom Jobim. And man, Nelson and Thiago, they are doing a great job
Wow.
with the kids, and that is amazing. Actually, now they are doing the Revirada Cultural in MSP Tom
Wow.
Jobim. If you could check it, man, that just
Amazing.
online settings, online sessions, that's amazing.
And
So,
Thiago
uh,
was with us at the Unicamp, right? He came and was part of the group, like playing piano, and
yes,
he was coming out of the same group of musicians, you know. And it's amazing to
yes,
see what he's been doing. I mean, for a long time, not just now. His career has been amazing.
he always does that. I remember that I did one work with Paulo Jobim,
Uh-huh.
with Thibaut Delors, and
Yeah.
Thiago was the piano player, and he was not that just to take the piano.
Yeah.
He was called just to take to play the piano, but
Hmm.
he take the all the arrangements and change things, and he's
Yeah.
so he
Musical.
dig in that thing that
That's great.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
Rogério,
Diga.
please tell us first,
Okay.
before you tell it, could you show us a little bit your set, play a little bit for us your set, because we are talking, but I'm so
Uh-huh.
curious to see how that how it sounds and works, because I heard a
Okay.
lot, but I want to see that.
Cool. Okay, this is a ever-changing setup. I mean, this one is sort of more. I kind of stayed around this thing about having a cajon here with a
Uh,
pedal playing backwards. I don't know if you can see it, but that's
yeah,
the bass drum, the cajon sound. So, and then I have a cymbal, for some sustained sound sometimes. And then I have something that I think is definitely my invention or my discovery, which is a hi-hat, a shaker hi-hat. It's a big, big Mineiro, big Ganzá from Brazil,
wow,
that I got in Recife when I was there, 2008, yeah, 12 years ago. So when I got this, I started putting over this foam and just tapping. So I
yeah,
did a lot of recordings with this on my right side, And then I always try to find a solution for the hi-hat because, I tried all kinds of shells and shekere and kashishis, all
yeah,
kinds of stuff on the top of the hi-hat, but never really worked for me because of the response. And one day I was lying in bed, like I was sleeping, then I said, what if I, instead of tapping with my hand, if I just put on the floor and tap with my foot? So that's what I did. I just put on the
wow,
floor and that is here.
just with your foot.
Just like the same way I'm tapping with the hand, but now it's just with the foot. So
Great.
it's so compatible, so like compact. It's small and easy to carry, and I don't have to carry a hi-hat stand, So this is the sort of the basic, which everything comes from a drum set mindset, Like
Mhm.
basically, this is sort of the bass drum sound. I'm not just playing up there, I mean in front of me, but it's the same idea. And this is a hi-hat function. So of course the cymbal. And for snare drum I have usually a pandeiro, a Brazilian tambourine. But in this case with plastic head because I just want to make sure nothing goes wrong here.
Okay.
And I always have some kind of stuff on top of the pandero because this is the open sound.
Yeah. Wow.
So I can use like a little finger, I mean, a bigger than finger cymbal, but something that I got in Indonesia. I keep collecting
Wow.
stuff, And then this is also something that it became kind of one of my favorite instruments. I don't know if you guys have IKEA in Brazil. IKEA is a like Talk Stock, that kind of that store,
Yeah.
furniture and kitchen stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
IKEA.
we have around the world IKEA, and here it's pretty big. So I went to the
And
kitchen section and I just started tapping stuff, and I found these guys here. They are incredible.
but
I mean,
wh-
there's a
but
lot I can do with this.
what just first what it does in the kitchen? What is his function
Okay.
in the kitchen?
The function is to hold silverware, to hold the knives and forks when you wash and put
Yeah.
it's full of holes,
Yeah,
so then
yeah,
it
yeah.
drains. So it's a
Yeah.
strainer. So that's the
Yeah.
function. But
And
in
your
my
function?
in my hands, it started. Let me just show you how it started. It started like this.
Yes.
So when I heard this, I was like, "Oh man, this is great!" So I grabbed three and created a little like a, little steel drum, or like a melodic
Yeah.
thing. And then
Yeah.
later on, I started playing. I don't think I have. Well, this would work. I started playing with a stick inside. It works better
That's
on this, but like a triangle function.
yeah.
But here it sounds a little more. That kind of thing. And then later I discovered that if you put some little metal pieces, like those jingles from Santa Claus, from Christmas.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
put something
I used
in
to play
there,
that.
yeah, exactly, the slave bells. So if you put something in there, and then I can use it almost like a hi-hat thing, like a closed hi-hat.
Uh,
But with the right?
wow.
So there's many uses for this thing. I mean, I really love it.
Yeah.
And it's been a constant research, like trying things, and this has been, the fun journey of percussion, because as I said, wherever I go, and I don't mean like a store, but anywhere I go, I try to go to antique stores or anywhere,
Yeah.
and the house of the people, and I start tapping into things and seeing if there's some sound, and
It's a
then
little
I start,
dangerous.
yeah,
It's a
I
little
know.
dangerous invite you to came home. So
It's true.
you can start to play, and I think that the kitchen for everybody is a little risky today.
Yeah.
and,
So
Rogério, what
yes.
is this little tone, like tone
Oh, here.
that his sound tum, tum, tum.
This one.
Yeah.
This is a Japanese drum. I mean, this is an actual drum. So it's not a toy. It's not a kitchen utensil. It's
Kitchen
a drum.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a ceremonial drum, as I heard. It's called Ushiva Daiko, and they have in many different sizes. It looks like a tennis racket, like a ping pong racket.
Yes.
The like a pad. So they use a stick and they play, for their ceremonies in Japan. But I mean, I just love this sound. And so yeah, I mean the drums that I have each come from a different part of the world. So this is Japanese, and this is a sabar drum from Senegal. And
Yeah.
and when you play, they don't play with brushes, but when you do, I think
But
it
you can
sounds
do
so
that.
warm,
Yeah.
And this is a bombo leguero from Argentina. I mean, they're trying to imitate because
Yeah.
there's no, it's just the frame, you know, there's no
There's
body.
nobody.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
little frame with the head. But it was made in Spain by a very serious luthier, and it has like, you know, this head with the hair. So I like to use it as the low end. You know. Can you hear the low end? I mean, does it project there?
Yes, yes. A little less than the high tones,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
you can
Okay.
hear that. Man, that 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 setup is amazing.
And
And
then there's
I was
another one
listening.
here, which is from Uganda. So Uganda, Brazil, Japan, Senegal, Argentina via Spain, Peru via Spain as well, because Cajon is Peruvian, but this one I got in Spain. And then there's other, you know, other things, rattles and shakers and kashishis and all. You know, all kinds of stuff that gets brought into the setup, you know. But
Man,
this is
that's,
sort of the basic. But
that's
depending on
amazing.
each situation, each artist, each type of music, whatever, it changes, you know, because I have to be
I,
flexible. Yeah.
I was listening today.
Mhm.
I went to run. I'm imitating Peter Martin, our friend from here. But today I wake up early and I went to run,
Uh-huh.
and I was listening the last John Patitucci record that you are
Oh,
on there,
the trio.
and in trio. And
Mhm.
remember the name of the guitar player, please.
Yotam Silberstein.
Did Yotam make some overdubs with the guitar, with acoustic
Yeah.
guitar? Yeah.
Yeah, he overdubbed. Sometimes he played on acoustic and then overdubbed electric, or two acoustic. Sometimes there was a 12 string on one tune. Yeah, he did some overdubbing. Yeah.
I almost crashed when I was running because I started to listen a different thing. I think that's impossible. He can do that.
Yeah, it's called studio. You know, you go to the
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just joking.
And in this album, that there's a lot of Brazilian music in this album. I think
Yeah,
the whole
it's-
album is
The
Brazilian.
whole album is Brazilian. Yeah, it's a project that John decided to do. He's been connected to Brazilian music for a long time. You know, starting when he moved to California, from Brooklyn to California, and met Ayrton Moreira, and
Yeah.
then Ayrton kind of took him and started teaching him and bring him to play in his band. So that's when he started to get into this universe of Brazilian music. So he's been around Brazilian musicians and music for a long time, and he always, I mean, he did one record a long time ago called Mistura Fina, which has a lot of Brazilian music. I think João Bosco
I
is on
remember.
a couple of tracks, and I mean everybody else. I mean, there's a lot of people there on this
I
record, a
remember
lot of
that.
Brazilians, and
I
it's been a
remember.
long time, and we've been friends and collaborating for a long time. And he was like, "Oh man, we should do, you know, something like a Brazilian record." And I said, "Okay, whenever you're ready." And then eventually the opportunity came through this label from a label that originally issued the LP. They only make LPs.
Okay.
Louvel. Yeah, they're based in France and in Boston. So he got the invitation to make a record, and then he called me and said, "Hey, this is it, let's do it." And then I said, "Okay, you need a guitar player, so Yotam is our man, because he knows a lot about Brazilian music. He's been just
Yeah.
listening so much, and he memorizes everything, and his repertoire is amazing." So we brought tunes together, and we sat down and kind of decided on a lot of things together in terms of arrangement and how things would go. So yeah, that album is all Brazilian music.
and
um,
and and you bring the Brazilian music for this whole world setup. Is that you did? I can
Well-
hear that you use a lot of drum set, but you change the color of things, and I can heard. I can hear in Chico Buarque songs that you play the samba different with different instruments. You
Yeah.
used to do that.
Yeah, that record is mostly drum set, but I'm kind of bringing the percussion as we go. So like even if I'm playing the drum set, like I there's one tune that I use this. This is like an artist's knife, you know, for painters, you know, to get the paint and put on the but it sounds so good.
Daniel gives it to you.
I stole it from Noemi, actually, from my wife. She's been doing some artwork too.
They
But
are
you know,
easy.
playing on the cymbal.
Yeah.
So, and bells and shakers and stuff. It's a regular drum set plus these little things. So this is the setup that I use when I'm the only percussionist or only drummer in the band.
Okay.
So, or if we decide we are like two percussionists, not like if there's a drum set, I'm not going for this because I don't need the cajon like that.
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
this kind of sound, and I don't need the cymbal. I never have a cymbal when I'm playing percussion when
Yeah.
there's a drummer because I feel like, okay, you got that part. I'm gonna try to find other sounds. But
Uh-huh.
in many situations where I'm the only drummer and percussionist, and depending on the type of music, then I would bring this kind of setup or a drum set plus all these little things. So
Yeah.
I've been going through these three settings.
Yeah.
Only percussion with no cymbals and no bass drum, and then this kind of in the middle, which is a percussion setup but with the role of a drum set, or playing more of a drum set but always with some kind of color and
Yeah.
flavor from percussion. Yeah.
Yeah. Later on, I will ask you to show us that groove with triangle. But
Oh,
now I think it's time to see the comments because there's a lot of people
please.
talking here that just say hello for everybody. Clemens
Cool.
Marks sounds amazing. Edu, thank you. Nice drumming, Hank. What's your bass drum tuning? I turned the bass drum very high, and I don't try to take the low part from the bass drum on closed microphones. I always take the attack of the bass drum a little bit. What is the opposite of closed? Is
Open.
open. Yes. Yes. Let's say Skloban. Thank you. What Canopus model are you using? That is a NV61. Ramon Montagner is here
Oh,
saying
Ramon.
abraços,
Abraço.
Edu e
Abraço.
Rogério. Vocês são referências. Abraço, Ramon. Abraço.
Ramon.
He's another crazy guy from
Yeah.
Campinas that does that crazy things that you do,
Oh,
meant to
man.
play everything, a kind of octopus man.
It's crazy.
And Sloban, thank you. Jurandir Martins, hello. Uh, Derek Snare says, gotta make a run to IKEA, quick. To IKEA to take
Yeah.
some. So funny, so funky. Muito
Yeah,
interessantes
it's funky.
adaptações. O Bruno Palácio says, muito interessante essas adaptações dos instrumentos do Rogério. So interesting that adaptation, Rogério.
Yeah. Thank you.
Samuel Gold have a question for you, Rogério.
Let me hear.
Do you look for a certain combination of sounds when you are assembling a kit for a musician project? I think you already answered that, but you could talk a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the only percussionist, so I'm trying to create options for myself in terms of like the low end, like thinking of like a drum set, because the drum set has the bass drum and like taking care of the low end, and then the snare drum in the middle, backbeats and stuff, and hi hat and cymbals. So, as I said, this is basically my hi hat, I mean, with an extra things in there, but I try to cover the roles, but depends on the project, because sometimes I don't feel I would need a cymbal, or I would need a different cymbal, just like a more like effects kind of cymbal, not like a ride cymbal, like this. So it depends, but usually if it's in this situation of me trying to sound more like a drum set player in terms of the role, I like to bring all these things because I have all these colors, and I think I can play the grooves, but it just sounds my own sounds. It's not like it would fit the description of the drum set, but it's just different. So, and if it's definitely the short answer is yes. Every time I do a project, it's something specific, but depends on the situation, because if Edu would be playing drum set with me, I would be playing something very different, because then I don't need to cover those bases. I mean, he got it. I'm just trying to complement whatever he already has. So that's how I would approach.
I
Thanks.
saw you playing with an incredible drummer today, Brian Blade.
Oh.
Man,
Brian,
that's amazing, man.
he's the best. He's just.
I love that.
Oh.
I love that new group. This is a new group.
Well, It's actually an old group, but it's newer because the thing is, when they had the fellowship, the
Yeah,
group that he leads. So
yeah.
two of the members of the group had to stop taking gigs because they were doing one was doing his doctoral program in Haiti, the other one was doing culinary work, studying. So they were like 6 months or a year off. So Myron and John and Brian got together and said, "So what are we gonna do? Who are we gonna call?" And they decided to call other people to form another group instead of trying to just call subs, just call people to
Just
sub.
subs.
So
Yes.
then they got John Hart on guitar and Monty Alexander, Monty Croft
Oh,
playing vibraphone and singing, and Doug
Doug.
Wise, yeah, was
Yeah.
playing bass. So that became their group. This is 20 years ago. So when they
Wow.
started and they wrote music for that band and they toured, they did, but they never recorded. And they wanted to. I mean, just life got in the way. I mean, Brian was so busy with everything, and they got the fellowship going back. So this project was in their minds, but never really fully formed for a recording. So they wanted to pay tribute to Bobby Hutcherson, the Great Vibes player,
Yeah.
and they actually wanted him to come and collaborate with the band, but unfortunately he passed away before that. So Brian decided to make a record with the original music that they wrote for the band and also recording music from Bobby Hutcherson's.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did, and then in this, he decided to record an album called Now. I mean, re-record music from this album that Bobby Hutcherson released called Now, and he recorded in 1969, and he came out in 1970, like 50 years ago. So we basically re-recorded those tunes in this instrumentation with this group, and that's when he called me because he said, "Oh man, there's some tunes that Candido plays some conga. Do you want to join us?" I said, "Man, I'm not a conguero. I don't, really. That's one thing I need to really step up on my playing. But with you, I go even playing like a pan, or not playing anything. I just want to sit down and watch." So, and then we did a couple of rehearsals and we played a few nights here in the Jazz Standard, and then we went to the studio, recorded, and then later on, what you saw probably is from the radio in Seattle, the radio show we
Seattle.
did.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
last September, a year ago, we did a tour in the Midwest and West Coast. So I mean, we had a chance to play with the band, and the record's supposed to come this year. I hear he's finally getting a chance to mix it and working on it still, and I think
Wow.
we're gonna hear it coming soon, which I hope.
I am excited to to
Oh
to
man,
to hear that,
me
and
too.
congratulations, brother. That was amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
That.
It's just a unbelievable blessing and privilege to be around those guys, and especially Brian. Brian's a special human being and musician. I mean,
I,
you don't need
I
me to
s-
tell you.
I saw him playing in March, in February. I went to the that was so special to me because I I meet your daughter
Oh yeah,
Annie for a
yeah,
long
yeah.
time ago. The last time that I saw Annie was in Brazil, and she was a kid. Yes, we are getting old,
Oh yeah,
but she was there, and was amazing to see and talk and see that
yeah.
she grows up, and
Oh
and
man.
her music is beautiful. But the other day, Brian plays there with Doug, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the
It was
fellowship. Now
great.
Doug is on the fellowship. Yes. So
Yeah,
yeah, that group
yeah.
is just unbelievable. I'm
A,
glad you got a
a,
chance to see it.
yeah, man. Uh, uh, Juan Magna. Do you know Juan
Oh yeah, of
Magna?
course. He came to Unicamp when I was teaching there. He came right in the. I think the last year I was there before I moved here because I started teaching in 2000, stayed 5 years, and then I think he was there in the last leg, and now he's here in the U.S. right? He's
I
did,
think
yeah.
he's there in US, and he's saying hello to us.
One.
A huge hug, and please teach me some word in English. When I want to celebrate you, quando eu quero fazer uma homenagem a você, eu quero dizer em homenagem ao Juan. How say that? How I
You
can say that?
you can say either paying tribute to Juan or in homage of Juan or something like in an honor of Juan, but paying tribute would be a good way. So you want to
Paying
pay
tribute.
tribute. Paying
So
tribute, yeah.
pay tribute. So I want to pay tribute to Juan, and I want to ask you to show us the
Uh,
chacareira groove that you did for this Vairada in Partitude
ah,
record. That was amazing, man. Could you show
oh
that,
man.
because you have a bumbo leguero here?
Yeah. Well, if you want, I can grab the instrument that I played, which is not this. I mean, I that tune was one of the two that I did overdubs. So there was one track that I did
I
with this.
I didn't
So
realize that
yeah.
that was overdubs. Was
No,
so
this one, yeah. This
yeah.
one was it because, yeah, I wanted to just play something light and orchestrate. So, and also because of the instrument, I will show you. It's very easy to get. But so I use this thing, and then
Yeah.
at some point, two kashishis, with two,
Yeah.
and the low end. Let me see if I can grab it. 1 second, it's right here.
No
But
problem.
It's a very
I'm
interesting, very
I'm
interesting
I'm
instrument.
talking with people here, and Jazz Lebert Bertrand says hi. Hello, Nicholas. Hello from Vegas. Oh, I went to Vegas last year. Adelino Costa, salve professores. Samuel Gold, obrigado, Rogério. Thank you, brother. Si, senhor. He is in DC. DC is Washington,
Yeah.
DC. Is that?
Juan,
Juan
right?
Magna.
Juan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is it. This is the instrument that I
What?
played.
It's from IKEA too?
No, no. This is somebody. I think in West Coast somewhere in California. No, I'm not even sure. It's been years that I have this. So it's just almost like a cajon, but it's very different the sound because if I come here,
Uh-huh.
do you hear the low end?
Yes.
So this is what I used for the. I mean, if you really put the mic in the hole, like really
Yeah.
close to the hole, it's like a
Yeah.
super deep drum,
Wow. It's almost the same from Vaso.
Yeah, but it's even more. There's not so much air, and also the attack, because I can be very soft here,
Uh-huh.
and you just had the. You don't have the hand hitting the ceramic, the pot. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I had to overdub because. But I mean, we just played the other day, a week ago. It was the first time we played as a trio,
Mm-hmm.
and ever. I mean, we recorded this album 3 years ago, last week in September 17, 18 of
Okay.
2017, and last week was the first time we actually had a chance to play together. So I was just playing something. I don't know. I mean, you can kind of recreate the vibe, but it sounds different, in the record because of the closed miking and everything. Yeah, there's different ways of orchestrating that.
Man, I love that rhythm.
Oh,
I am
yeah.
from the south, and it's from
know.
Argentina, but I love that mixing
Of course.
that came from Rio Grande do Sul and Santa Catarina, also in Paraná. I love that, man.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
amazing.
that
And
that, that too.
the way they actually phrase it, with the I mean, I always go to YouTube to watch those guys playing the bumble great. It's just unbelievable. The phrasing, it's so loose and so.
I can't do that. I just know to do that one.
Yeah.
Man, that is
Yeah.
amazing. That's a beautiful instrument, and the music is so. I don't know. It's so emotional that
Expressive. Yeah, very
Yeah.
very expressive. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, Rogério,
Yes. tell me.
when did you decided to move it to US? It was for teach, or it was for study?
Okay, so the thing is, I always wanted to come here, especially to New York, to study, to learn the music. Every time people would come to Brazil for the jazz festivals, all jazz musicians coming, I was there. Free jazz, and then Chivas, and then Heineken, all
I
those
remember.
festivals. and trying to get backstage and try to talk to the people. I would read
I remember
about
that.
them. Yeah, read about them on the
You
magazines or records,
you
and
you were a kind of ambassador from the musicians here.
yeah, and I was trying to talk to people. Hey, do you wanna, get to know the city or get some good food? Because if you stay in the hotel, you're not gonna experience anything, or see
Yeah.
some music or buy some percussion, whatever. It's trying to interact because of my admiration for their work and their careers and their music. So I was very connected, or just led to connect with the jazz musicians. So I wanted to come to learn and to practice and to study here, to come to school, but it never really worked out that way. And eventually, uh, a teacher from the school in Hartford, which is in Connecticut. So he runs a program. His name is Ben Toth. He runs a program of the classical department, classical music, percussion, but he brings a guest every year to teach private lessons and ensemble lessons with the students.
Hmm.
So there's one guy teaching African drumming, and then other teaching Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Cuban, and jazz vibes, and uh, Middle Eastern drums, like tablas and frame drums and all that. And then he invited me to come and teach Brazilian percussion. So that was back in 2003. So it took a good year and a half, almost 2 years for my turn to come. So then he said, but it's just a 1 year commitment. I cannot promise you anything. You just come for 1 year. After that, you're on your own. I said, okay. So
Okay.
I got a absence, leave of absence from the orchestra, and from from Unicamp, the school I was teaching there. I said, okay, I'm gonna leave for a year, and I'll come back. So keep my place here, and they agreed. It was all signed off, and so I came, and then never really went back. In terms of work. I mean, I've been there to visit my family and stuff, but never really moved back. So one thing led to the other, and meeting people, and just life went on, and but it was weird for me because I really wanted to come to study, to be a student, and eventually I was here in one of the universities teaching. It was hard for
Yeah.
my head to adjust because I didn't see myself teaching anything. I just wanted to learn. Eventually, later, years later, I went to, like John Riley mentioned last week with you, I went to study
Yeah.
with him at the SUNY Purchase, that school upstate. I mean, right here, close to my house. So, where also my daughter went for her undergrad. So I did my master's there with him, and it was great. But at that point, almost felt like, okay, now I feel like, I mean, jazz is amazing, but I was already doing something else in terms of percussion and stuff,
Hmm.
because I really wanted to just study swing and traditional jazz, starting with that, and then branching out. But
Yes.
by that point, I was already, playing and doing other stuff with exploring these other sides. But it was really amazing to connect with John, and we are still together at the Manhattan School, although now it's all a lot of this, a lot of Zoom stuff. But
Yeah. He told us
yeah,
last week. He
yeah,
told
he's
about
amazing.
you.
He's
And
amazing.
and I saw a long time ago. I saw some part of some teaching, some your teaching,
Uh huh.
and you had the kind of kashishi. I think you were teaching a kind of rhythm class, something like that.
Uh huh.
Um, have you using some have you have sorry about my bad English, but
Go ahead.
did you have some class with Gramani, and have you used that material here there in US?
Yes, the Gramani was this teacher, right? That was in our school, and he was the reason I went to that school because I was there
Yeah,
visiting the school for a minute. When I was finishing college, collegial high school. When I was finishing the school in Brazil, I went to the university to visit, and I saw him, and I heard about him, and Marquito. You remember Marquito Cavalcante, the
yeah,
guitar
the
player?
guitar player.
Yeah, he studied there, and he said, "Man, you gotta check out Gramani stuff." And I said, "Okay." So when I got to know him, I said, "Okay, I want to come here to study with this guy." So he had this
Wow.
class, which was a rhythmic ear training. Like, if you want to graduate in the uh, classical composition program, or any music major in the classical department, had to go to that class for 4 years, for 8 semesters. So that's
Wow.
what I did. I went, and even when I took that year off when I tranquei Unicamp, and went
Yeah.
to Sao Paulo. When I came back, I mean, I was done already, but I took another year with him, because I just loved him so much. He became like a
Wow.
mentor. And when he unfortunately passed away in 1998, that's also when I went back to the Unicamp and then started teaching this, his system, his concept
Yeah.
of dealing with rhythm, which is called Ritmika.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been involved with Ritmika since I got to the school in 1988, and it's been very transformative for me. Learning those concepts and having this all this time of interaction with him and getting to know his material. So I've been teaching Ritmika since the first day I got here. To this program and the percussion program up in Hartford, and now at Manhattan School since 2012. I've been teaching that, and everywhere I go, I make sure to share that because it's very, very interesting rhythmic concept which turns things instead of vertical relationships that we are used to make, especially as drummers. If you're
Yeah.
gonna if you're gonna try to play a groove, an African groove, you have the bell pattern, ting, 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 whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
this drum, that drum, all those voices. One very common solution is to try to see what limb plays with what. The cymbal plays with
Yeah.
the bass drum here on the third note. So that is what I call the vertical approach. Like
Like a grid.
you put on a grid and then you try to
Yeah.
match. And his
Yeah.
approach is like this, boom. Like you try to learn this line. And what's the other line? So you never really try to see where things fit. You always try to learn this melody and then learn the other melody and then you try to play all together. So
Wow.
that to me was like, wow, it was very different. And there's a
Yeah.
whole reason for that in his concept. It's that you respect the personality of each phrase. It's almost like you're just playing this, like the person, he's just playing that bell, and the other person just playing this drum, and the other person just playing that. So you try
Yeah.
to absorb or represent more of that spirit, which is harder, I would say, than the approach of trying to connect. But I think the musical result is different too. So it's very
Yeah.
challenging. But I've been teaching that a lot. That's one of my main things that I'm involved with in terms of teaching.
Great,
I
great,
love it. I love it.
and I did, and I didn't had this chance to
Mm.
spend 8 semesters with him. I think I did just two just two. He
Okay.
was sick. Well,
Yeah.
has to be two, but I think was just 1.5.
Yeah.
But I remember when he came to give the class was so different, and that way because it's just that you said for the drummers you always take some points to
Line
like
up
a point that yes,
to
yes,
a reference. Yeah.
and it's so melodic when you can feel different things. It's
Yeah.
hard to play, but before play, just feel and know that is amazing. And Rogério, I think
Yes.
we have a little bit more questions here.
Okay.
From Derek Snare, what setup gives you more joy to play? Traditional drum setup or the setup you are showing today?
Uh, it's a hard question, but I think if it fits the music, whatever setup is fitting the music, that's the one I want to be playing. So, like for instance, this trio record with John, I feel like that was more a drum set kind of vibe. So
Mhm.
I felt great playing that. But if I'm in different, like other situations that this fits better, so I feel like okay, this is it. Or if I'm with Brian, I don't need anything. I just want to watch. But if he let me play something, so whatever is in front of me, I'll play. So yeah, it doesn't matter. But because the thing is, I mean, one thing that led me to this that we kind of started talking about when I was in the orchestra, because I was playing drum set, and if I'm playing timpani and then next 100 bars, there's a solo and there's no timpani part to play, so people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, grab a shaker, help out." So I'm there, with the timpani in front of me and doing this, and I'm feeling like, what's going on? Like I have 3 more limbs free to do something, so give me something else. So I
Uh,
started, tapping on the side on the body of the instrument of the timpani, which has
uh,
some kind of sound like kind of playing some tambourine, some kind of lines in there, and then I couldn't just do one thing because my mind was like coming from this multiple polyphonic situation, with four limbs playing everything.
yeah.
So that's what also led me to start exploring all this kind of combination of playing things on top of the other things. Like you mentioned, the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I was doing. Remember the Visa, Premio Visa, that
Of course.
song festival
In
or
in that
context.
that amazing theater that was burned. Wow.
Totally burned, yeah, Cultura
Yeah.
Artística. So I
Yeah.
remember this guy from Minas, from Belo Horizonte, Flávio Henrique, who unfortunately also passed away. Great
Yeah,
composer,
man. That.
great guitar player. So he
Yeah.
came and he said, "Man, I want, I'm gonna be part of this. I was selected. I'm gonna play this song. And do you want to play with me?" I said, "Man, it would be great." So he said, "Yeah, let's try to put a set together." It was a guitar, I think piano. I'm not sure if there was a bass. And the three girls that have the trio Amaranto, three vocalists, three
Yes.
sisters. Amazing too.
Yes.
So
Amazing.
that's when I got to meet them. And so he said, "Yeah, just we're gonna play this, this bayan, this forró thing." And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna play a triangle."
Hmm.
And then I felt, okay, maybe if I sit on the drums, I can play the bass drum, and with the hi hat or something. But then I felt, but there's something else missing. I cannot just be playing this. It sounds pretty good, but can I try to play the snare drum as I'm playing the triangle? That was my thought. Can I do the or the left hand of the zabumba, because I'm playing the right hand here. But what about the left hand, the bacalhau? So
Yeah.
I started experimenting, with the triangle as a stick, like keeping the opening, always keeping it opening, and then
Wow.
so that's why, and I started actually doing this also on the timpani, which classical
It, it,
percussionists
it was
they,
not allowed to do
they
that in
had
the timpani.
they had a picture of me and they played darts with it, because
It's not allowed.
I was playing this on the top of that big drum, because the thing is you have the tuning pedal on the timpani.
Yeah.
So when I would
Wow.
just touching the triangle on the drum, it's a beautiful sound. Now imagine like a 26-inch timpani, and you have the ability to pitch bend.
Wow.
Man, it was such a sound. And I know the classical percussion. "What are you doing?" I said, "Man, I'm playing this thing. I wanna take this home with me.
Yeah, it's easy.
I mean, it's just really unbelievable."
Oh man, and you never had problem with the union. The union, the
Well,
percussionist never, never said
they,
you are doing my job and his job.
oh, not like that. But the classical percussionists tried to kill me once. They like, "What are you doing? Don't put
Yeah,
anything on top of the timpani." I said, "I'm not putting
yeah.
anything. I'm just hitting."
I still alive. They
Yeah,
tried to do that with me too, but they didn't do
exactly.
that.
Yeah, so that's some sort of mindset, that led me to these kind of things of,
Man,
you know, I don't know.
that triangular groove is amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
Edu.
brother.
Thank
That
you.
is amazing. Oh,
Coming from you. Thanks so much.
yo, man. Bobby Hayner is saying, fantastic gentlemen. Thank you so much, maestros.
Thank
With
you.
Jazz Labet, where that bombo from without shell. Bertram, is that?
Oh, Bertram, yeah. Oh, wait. No, this is from somebody in Spain, which I need to look at my phone to remember his name, because this has been a while. And somebody told me of him, that he makes these drums, and then I just went online and grabbed it. Like I didn't have too much interaction. But I can find out. I can maybe post somewhere, or you shoot me an email. I'll definitely, you know, answer. And it's very well finished. And you can. The thing is, you can tune, you know, with a like a drum key, and you can
Mm-hmm.
put any kind of head you want. I mean, you can put like a Remo ambassador if you want, or whatever.
Yeah.
But so it's very flexible in that sense, very versatile, and it fits. I mean, on any kind of snare stand. Although I'm using some pads, you know, some cushion, because if you put this straight on the snare stand, it sounds like nothing because it
Yeah.
takes the vibration out of it, you know. So I'm using these pads to keep it floating, basically. It's what people in Brazil do when they play the surdo, you know, with the foot, with the feet of the surdo, you know,
Legs.
the legs, sorry, and they put some foam underneath, so then the surdo kind of floats and it sounds much bigger,
Yeah.
much more round, right? So it's the same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Rogério,
Yes.
we have to talk. I have a question for you. Your album,
Uh-huh.
no rain, old rain,
No old rain.
no old rain.
Yeah.
In your quartet with Silvano, Fernando Michelin,
Yes. Pianist.
who is the saxophone player
Dan Blake.
and the bass player?
Jay Anderson.
Where can I find it on iTunes?
It's on iTunes, Amazon, it's on Spotify, you know, all the platforms. At some point, I
Okay.
was resisting to go totally digital like that, but it's just like there's no, you know, there's no point in keeping it.
Yeah,
I
I
wish
agree
people
with
were
you.
just gonna listen to it and, you know, get something out of that. But yeah,
And-
that's a very special project for me because that's the one project that I feel like my role is more of a facilitator. You know,
Mhm.
it's not so much about me playing the drums. It's actually about the interaction of the group and how we play the tunes.
That is great.
Because yeah, it's not a showcase for me to, oh, here, this is how I play the drum set. No, it's just
Yeah.
that also in that case I feel the drum set is a better vehicle to express what I'm trying to express than this. But
Yeah.
it's not really about me as a drummer. I realized this right after I mean, during the process of recording, because it took a while, you know, to get the group together and mature the idea, because we have a very specific kind of concept in playing the tunes we play, which is
Mhm.
really recomposing the tunes in the moment as a quartet. So,
Man, that
yeah.
is so too much freedom about the music, and that and I have a question
Uh-huh.
for you. I saw in your music and in your life a huge influence from the Minas Gerais music. You talked
Yes.
about the Flávio Henrique, and in your recording there is a lot of Minas, the Milton songs, né?
Antoninho
And
Horta.
that recording reminds me a little the Native Dancer
Okay.
music,
Yeah.
and even in the Partitucci recording, that there's a lot of Milton things there that I did, and where came it from you? I know you came from São Paulo, and Toninho Horta, of course. I saw that you have a duo with Toninho, and
Yeah,
where's the connection?
Okay, so I think it's pretty much through Toninho because well, this is way back even before Jazz Sinfonica, even before the orchestra. I was playing timpani as a student basically at the youth orchestra of Campinas, right? The youth symphony orchestra. This is like
Okay.
86, 87, and then through until 1989 or 90. So we had a concert that had some guests, and one of the guests was Toninho. Also, Nelson Aires was there, and Márcio Montarroyos and Nivaldo Ornelas.
Wow.
Those four came as guest artists to
Yeah.
play with the orchestra, and then we had this concert at Ibirapuera, the park, you know, almost like
Yeah.
the São Paulo Central Park.
Yeah.
And that's when I got to know him, and this is like, you know, I was around 20 years old or something, 21. So, and he saw me playing the timpani, and he turns to me and said, "Hey, do you guys have some percussion to play?" No, that was actually the first time somebody asked me to play something that was not a drum set or the timpani that I was trying to learn how to play in this youth orchestra.
Okay.
And I was like,
Okay.
wait, what do you mean? And then, started grabbing things and trying to find ways of
Went
understanding
to
what
the
he wanted.
kitchen.
Yeah. But then years later, I mean, then I got really connected with him and I became his number one fan. So listening to all his recordings, and every time he would come to São Paulo, Campinas, I would go and watch the concert and stuff. So we became friends. And by a few years later, he came to Campinas and said, "Oh, I'm having two concerts in Campinas and two in Bauru, one of the club, Templo Bar. Remember that?
O templo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
That
back
that there's a very good
1994.
food there.
Oh man, the
We, can,
steak.
we have to talk about that.
The steak
We
is
have to tell
amazing.
people about the Osvaldo Aranha filé.
Look what I remember from that gig. Besides the music, is like the filet, the steak, and the mango juice, which was just mango, no sugar, no water, just mango. I mean, I was like, what is this? It was incredible.
Yeah.
But anyway, from there, things started to get even more and more close together, and then eventually he calls me. Toninho calls, hey, we have a gig on this date. Can you do it? And I said, I'm glad you called me, and I can do it. Who's the band? And he said, no, it's just me and you. I was like, what do you mean? I said, yeah, you just play some percussion, like let's do something. Like I'll bring the guitar, sing some stuff, and you just accompany me with percussion. And I was like, but in my mind, I don't play percussion. I just play drum set. And then that's the start of this whole exploration of making a drum set out of percussion sounds. But in that case, it was a little more literal. I was trying to, I mean, the way I started, you know that tune, Aquelas Coisas Todas?
Of
That
course.
fast samba.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking, because he's like super, he just goes and plays stuff. He doesn't rehearse or anything. So either you know the music or you just, whatever, you have to try to hang. So I'm glad I knew the music, but he didn't say, yeah, we're going to play this and that, and then you do this and nothing. It's just like, we go and play. But I was trying to think, how can I play those tunes, a tune like that, like a samba like that, without a drum set. So
Yeah.
then I started to figure out, holding a shaker in one hand, but also having like a stick. Kind of trying to, like, I put up a tambourine and an agogo bell and the shaker, and
Yeah.
like two sticks in one hand, trying to get
Yeah.
more sounds, stuff like
Wow.
with the shaker. So I started researching that stuff, and that's why when I started really finding solutions. So I had a small djembe that Vinicius Barros was grateful to me to lend me. Small djembe, a pandero as a tom, like this kind of. It was the beginning of this idea. That was the first time actually. And
Wow.
the funny thing is that we were playing this tune, so that was one tune that I kind of prepared some parts. I said, oh, in this section I'm going to play this, and then in the bridge I'm just going to go in the chorus. And then I had all this kind of figured out. So then eventually we played the head. I'm like totally into my thing, like trying to, and then he goes like, go Rogério, quebra tudo, solo. And I was like, whoa, I never thought about that possibility. And like as I'm playing, I was like, okay,
It is so Toninho.
now what?
It-
No, but it was like so immature
you-
of me. That I never got that far. I got enough information to play the tune, but solo. What do you mean by solo? With all these 5 things in my head. So that was like at the Conservatório Tatuí in the
Yeah.
school, music school in Tatuí.
yeah.
Man,
Tatuí.
I was like, Tatuí, exactly. so Toninho and then Milton also came to the orchestra, later, and we have a recording with him in the orchestra in 1994. We did a couple concerts in Belo Horizonte, in Minas, and they recorded and released as an album called Amigo. So once I get to know their music, I found, man, this is it. This is like such a powerful expression of Brazilian music, of life.
And
So
we have to tell something for the people that are non-Brazilians. There is a very special and so different music in Minas Gerais.
oh yeah,
In Brazil, if you can go to different parts, if you go to the south, you have a kind of music,
Yeah.
and if you go to the São Paulo, Rio, and the northeast, but Minas Gerais in the center of
The
the country,
mountains and the country. Yeah.
in the center of the mountains, and there is a very special harmony and rhythms and melodies,
Yeah.
and with beautiful songwriters
Singers and
and
yeah.
singers and the people that wrote the lyrics, and
Awesome.
that is a kind of very deep thing.
Yeah.
Rogério, we
Yes.
have one last question for
Okay.
you. We have two last questions.
Okay. Shoot it.
First, I have to I am gonna do a question to help Amazonia. Hello from France. I really love the symbols of your setup. Could you
Okay.
make a demonstration? I don't know if he's. You can show your symbols and I show my symbols. Let's do both.
Okay. Okay. Mine is very simple because I have just two. So this one here, it's actually a big right symbol that somebody in Australia made it. But I have a small, I don't know if you can see it, a small
Yeah.
splash symbol underneath, which
Wow, that's
chokes it a little bit and gives this kind of trashy sound. If I don't have that symbol underneath, it becomes like a gong, like it's super big.
yeah.
And I don't think I
Yeah.
hit this one, so I'm not showing this one because you probably didn't hear it. So
Okay, I will show my symbols very quickly.
go with it.
I'm endorser from Bosphorus, and I have this one, a very old one that was a gift from Jeff Hamilton in the time that he was in the company. His model is Hammer model, and it is a kind of hi hat, 15 hi hat, and this is a crash, very simple. I don't know I think it's gold. The
Model.
the model, and this one is from
Ah,
one guy in Barcelona. I
wow.
remember. I forgot his name. He's a kind of he's a luthier from Cymbals. His name is Roberto Faenzi, and I did one workshop in around Barcelona, and there was a symbol that I loved, and I couldn't see what brand was that, and I take it off, and I just he just put in the with
Marker.
some key or something,
Oh wow.
Faenzi, and I asked the guy from the school, and I said, who did this symbol? And he put me in contact, and he bring me this symbol to the gig
Wow.
I can remember the name of this jazz club that I love that. Okay, no problem. But he brings me this symbol, and I love that. I love this symbol. He's
Yeah.
Roberto Faenzi. Jamboree is the club in Barcelona. I love that.
Cool.
Rogério,
Yes.
so thank you so much.
Thank you, Edu.
Please, please, I have to say, thank you for Rachel, or for
Yes.
everybody from Open Studio, Peter Martin, Dan Martin, the whole Martin family, and Open Studio family, and I want to say thank you for everybody that came here, and
Sure.
I will ask you to say goodbye for the people too, but I want to say thank you to you, and
Hmm.
I want to ask you to announce our next guest the
Oh,
next week, that you'll be Vinicius Barros talking about that amazing project that he has about the tambourines and
yeah,
about the samba percussion. You know
for
him?
sure. Oh, Vinicius. Vinicius is one of my best friends. I mean, I got to know him way back when he was still in Tatuí in the school there, and then later on he came and we played together at the Jazz Symphonic Orchestra for years, and also in other situations. And then we started doing clinics here in the U.S. Of Brazilian music. That's when my career of a teacher in the U.S. started, basically, with clinics that we put together in different schools. That was the lab, which led to this, the whole thing I told you about a teacher from here inviting me to come and teach Brazilian percussion. So
Great.
yeah, Vinicius did a great job, great work of researching Marsal's tambourine and the whole samba tradition in Brazil. So you guys should definitely check out next week. And he's amazing with his work for sure. And I want to thank you, Edu, for inviting me, for bringing me here, because it's always a pleasure to interact with you, to hear you play, to anything you're doing. I'm a fan. So thanks so much for the invitation, to sharing a little bit of what I've been doing here. And thanks so much, everyone, for checking out, for the questions and for the comments. Really appreciate. Thank you, Rachel, for your help. Yeah.
I'm a fan too, man. Thank you for that. Hey,
My
guys.
pleasure.
See you next week. See you next Wednesday, ok?
Come back, come back.
Come back. Bye, 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 everybody. Tchau pra vocês. Um beijo
Tchau,
grande.
Edu.
Obrigadíssimo. Tchau, Rogério. Até
Valeu,
logo.
Edu.
Amigos.
Obrigadão.
Valeu, 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 valeu.